The pregnant Duchess of Sussex today made an emotional return visit to a community kitchen which inspired her collaborative work on a Grenfell Tower charity cookbook, telling the women, "I'm so proud of you." Meghan went to the Hubb Community Kitchen, not far from the site of the deadly tower block blaze in West London, to see firsthand the progress made since the Together cookbook went on sale in September. The mother-to-be was greeted warmly by kitchen coordinator Zahira Safian, whom she gave a big hug, and Abdurrahman Syed, chief executive of the Al Manar Muslim Cultural Center in North Kensington. Meghan, who has been making private visits to the kitchen since January, quickly abandoned any formality when she got inside. She threw her arms around each of the women and kissed them, chattering excitedly about what they had been up to since she last saw them. "Hi, how are you? Wow, it's so quiet in here," she said, giggling. Wearing a burgundy dress and coat by Club Monaco, a Canadian company now owned by U.S. fashion giant Polo Ralph Lauren, Meghan soon put on an apron, rolled up her sleeves and got stuck into helping prepare food. She said to a group of women, "It starts from one idea, and from this one idea starts so much. I'm so proud of you." The book, full title Together, Our Community Cookbook, took the #1 spot on Amazon within hours of being unveiled 2 months ago and has since sold nearly 40,000 copies in the UK, raising £210,000. Bumper sales of the cookbook, which features more than 50 recipes from women whose community was affected by the fire, have allowed a total makeover of the kitchen as well as longer opening hours. Meghan, who suggested the idea of a fundraising cookbook when she first met the women, has previously described it as a tremendous labor of love. The kitchen, redesigned with the women's input to capture its spirit as a place for the community to come together over meals, now opens 7 days a week, up from just 2 when it began last year. Those involved have also been able to obtain food hygiene qualifications and been empowered to start their own projects for the benefit of the wider community. Projects, supported by the Social Entrepreneur Foundation Ltd., include a group for women affected by domestic violence, a scheme to deliver freshly cooked meals for women on maternity wards, and a project to produce healthy treats for children. Today, 200 meals being prepared in the kitchen were destined for local groups, including elderly people's homes, homeless shelters and women's refuges. The dishes include Egyptian lamb fata, Persian chicken and barberry rice. The meals she helped prepare today included rainbow roasted vegetables, a recipe in the book from Alam Saeed, an Iraqi chemist, who stood chatting to the Duchess as she mixed the vegetables. Meghan drank ginger tea as she spoke to some of the women who have been motivated to go on and develop further projects including making healthy snacks for children, and preparing food for the homeless. She also introduced Chef Claire Smythe, a friend of hers, to the volunteers in the kitchen. Smiling, Meghan said, "I'm so proud of you. It's really exciting." "The people involved in the kitchen are incredible," said Ms. Smythe, who visited the kitchen for the first time with Meghan. Meghan drank ginger tea as she spoke to some of the women who have been motivated to go on and develop further projects including making healthy snacks for children, and preparing food for the homeless. The Coantrim-born chef, who now lives in London and has a restaurant near the community facility, said, "If everyone took care of their community like this there would be no issues in the world." Ms. Smith said Meghan had spoken with passion about the kitchen. "She's really into food, she's a real foodie." The Duchess told the group, "It hasn't been a year yet. From that standpoint, what you have achieved in that short space of time, it's really exciting." Community kitchens around Britain, including ones in Brixton in South London, Barnet in North London and Scotland, as well as a US group, have been in touch, asking to meet or swap ideas. Other projects that they are now working on include a group for women affected by domestic violence, a scheme to deliver freshly cooked meals for women on maternity wards, and a project to produce healthy food for children. Professional chefs will be brought into the center to give cooking masterclasses to the women. Today Meghan invited Ms. Smythe, the British chef who cooked for guests and the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's evening wedding reception in May, to come along to see what the women had achieved. Northern Ireland-born Ms. Smythe, who became the first British female chef to hold and retain 3 Michelin stars, runs a restaurant, Core by Claire Smythe, in nearby Notting Hill and pledged to come into the center to work with the women. "Every community needs something like this. If we could all do something together, "We could solve the world's problems," the chef said. She praised their culinary skills, adding, "They definitely don't need my help, but if there is anything I can do to help them, I will." The meals being prepared in the redesigned kitchen today, as Aretha Franklin music was piped out in the background, were for local groups, including elderly people's homes, homeless shelters and women's refuges. The dishes include Egyptian lamb fata, Persian chicken and barberry rice. Los Angeles-born Meghan enthused about the idea of food and meals as a means of bringing families and communities together. "It's Thanksgiving tomorrow, so it's the same thing about sharing," she said. One woman, Faiza Yani, whose signature dishes in the cookbook include Algerian couscous, Algerian sweet lamb, and plum cake, told the Duchess that she has just been given the go-ahead to start a project teaching French, English and computer skills to local immigrant women. Meghan, who lived in Canada for several years, told her, "I've been trying to get better at my French. I've been trying to practice quite a bit." Before she left, the Duchess kissed and hugged all of the women and even thanked the British media for attending. "Bye guys. Thank you for coming," she said. Afterwards Said said, "It was so nice. We are so happy. She has helped us a lot. She changed things in the kitchen and the community." Not all of the community knew this center was here. Now they all do. The kitchen was open only 2 days a week, now it is 7 days a week. "She did lots to help us in a short amount of time." A royal aide said Meghan would continue to work with the women but declined to say whether this might be the start of a wider, nationwide project. "It's too early to say yet, but she will continue to visit here. This project will always have a special place in her heart," she said. The team set out to raise £250,000 to renovate the kitchen and open it 7 days a week and expect to easily surpass that, especially with Christmas coming up. Supported by the Royal Foundation and published by Penguin Random House Companies, Together has raised enough funds for the kitchen to be completely redesigned and refitted, with the women's input, to capture what has been described as their joyful spirit. Over the summer last year, a group of women gathered in a communal kitchen at the Al Manar Community Center, where they could prepare fresh food for their families, friends and neighbors affected by the disaster. As they cooked together and shared recipes, as a community they began to connect, heal and look forward. Word spread and more women joined in, and this was the start of the Hubb Kitchen. The new facilities provide a safe and professional space for the women to cook, gather and run activities within their community. Previously the kitchen was only able to open 2 days a week due to funding, but the women are now able to use the kitchen 7 days a week, and have been trained to gain food hygiene qualifications and empowered to start their own projects, which will help others in their community benefit. The Duchess, who has made regular private visits to the kitchen since January, met the women as they prepared fresh meals for the local community in the newly renovated kitchen. The women were preparing 200 meals in just 1 day, to be delivered to local groups, including elderly people's homes, homeless shelters and women's refuges. They are also now working on their own projects, including a group for women affected by domestic violence, a scheme to deliver nutritious, freshly cooked meals for women on maternity wards, and a project to produce healthy treats for children. Meghan, whose first baby with her husband, Prince Harry, is due in the spring, also heard about the women's long-term vision for the kitchen, and how they hope to use future proceeds to reach out to more people in their community. Kensington Palace said today that since the book was published in September, the inclusive ethos of Together has resonated all over the world, and inspired people not just to buy the book, but to cook, eat and gather in their own communities. Together reached #1 on Amazon Co. UK book chart within hours of being announced, and has appeared in the Sunday Times and New York Times bestseller lists, selling tens of thousands of copies since its release.